Once upon a time, there was a wealthy merchant with plenty of land, goods, and money. He often had to travel to manage his affairs. One day, he embarked on a long journey and packed a small bag with a few biscuits and dates, as he would be crossing a desert with no food available. He completed his business and began his return trip. On the fourth day, he stopped under some trees to rest because the sun was scorching. He found a fountain of clear water at the base of a large walnut tree. He dismounted, tied his horse to a branch, and sat by the fountain, enjoying his dates and biscuits. After finishing his meal, he washed his face and hands in the water. As he was doing this, he saw a huge, furious genie approaching with a scimitar. "Get up!" the genie roared. "I will kill you just as you killed my son!" The merchant was terrified, both by the genie's fearsome appearance and his words. He trembled as he replied, "Please, good sir, I have done nothing to deserve death." "I will kill you," the genie repeated, "because you killed my son." "But," said the merchant, "I have never even met your son. How could I have killed him?" "When you arrived here," the genie asked, "did you not sit down, eat some dates, and throw the pits around?" "Yes," the merchant admitted, "I did." "Then," said the genie, "one of those pits struck my son in the eye and killed him. Therefore I will kill you." "Please, sir, forgive me," the merchant begged. "I will show no mercy," replied the genie. "But it was an accident," pleaded the merchant. "I beg you to spare my life." "No," said the genie, "I must kill you as you killed my son." And he grabbed the merchant, threw him to the ground, and raised his sword to behead him. The merchant, in desperation, cried out for his wife and children and tried to delay his fate. The genie, unmoved, held his sword high, waiting for the merchant to finish his pleas. At this point, Scheherazade stopped the story, knowing that the Sultan would rise early for the council. "That's an amazing story," said Dinarzade. "The rest is even more incredible," Scheherazade responded. "If only the Sultan will spare me for one more day to finish it." The Sultan, intrigued by the tale, decided to wait until the next day to hear the conclusion. The following morning, Dinarzade urged her sister to continue. The Sultan, eager to hear more, told Scheherazade to finish the story. "So," Scheherazade continued, "the merchant, seeing the genie was intent on killing him, said, 'Please grant me a little time to return home, say goodbye to my family, and make my will. I promised to return in a year to meet my fate.' The genie agreed, fearing the merchant might not return, and allowed him a year's delay. When the merchant arrived home, he was greeted with joy by his wife and children. However, he could only weep, and they soon understood that something terrible had happened. "Tell us, what's wrong?" his wife asked. "Alas," the merchant replied, "I have only a year to live." He explained the encounter with the genie and his promise to return. His family was devastated and wept greatly. The merchant began to settle his affairs, paying his debts, giving gifts, and making provisions for his family. The year passed quickly, and he had to leave. With a heavy heart, he said goodbye to his loved ones and returned to the place where he first met the genie. He waited by the fountain, anxious and sorrowful. As he waited, an old man with a hind approached. After greeting each other, the old man asked why the merchant was there. The merchant shared his story, and the old man, intrigued, decided to stay and witness the encounter with the genie. Soon, another old man arrived with 2 black dogs and, hearing the story, chose to stay as well. A third old man then arrived, inquiring about the merchant's sadness. After learning the tale, he also decided to remain and observe. They saw a thick cloud of smoke approaching, which cleared to reveal the genie. Without speaking, the genie went straight to the merchant, sword raised, and said, "Get up and let me kill you as you killed my son." The merchant and the 3 old men began to weep. The old man with the hind threw himself at the genie's feet and said, "O mighty genie, please listen to my story and that of the hind with me. If my story is more remarkable than the merchant's, please consider reducing his punishment by a third." The genie agreed to listen and, after some thought, said, "Very well, I will listen to your story." The old man began his tale. "Long ago I was a merchant like this man. One day I set out on a journey and came across a deserted village. There I found a beautiful horse, abandoned and hungry. I took it in and cared for it, and it became my trusted companion. One day, as I was traveling, a prince offered me a great sum of money for the horse. I refused, saying that the horse was not for sale. The prince was enraged and cursed me, but I continued to care for the horse with loyalty. Years passed, and the horse became old and frail. I took it to a sacred grove, where I hoped it could find peace. There, I discovered that the grove was enchanted. The spirit of the grove revealed that the horse had been a magical being, cursed to live as a horse until someone showed it kindness. I had broken the curse with my compassion, and the spirit granted me great fortune in return. I ask you, mighty genie, to consider this story. It shows that even the smallest acts of kindness can lead to great rewards, and that mercy and understanding are powerful virtues." The genie listened intently, and after reflecting on the story said, "This story is indeed remarkable. I will grant the merchant's request for mercy. I will reduce his punishment by a third." The merchant, deeply relieved and grateful, thanked the old man and the genie. The old man with the hind then added, "And if you would permit me, I have my own tale, which may be even more wondrous." The genie, curious, agreed to hear it. The old man began his story, promising that it too would hold a lesson worth hearing.